All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin. Another Chelsea news edition. As I've said, in the past couple of weeks, myself, KisHan, Ameya, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. Sunday, UK, 11:30 a.m. We will be bringing the Chelsea news, and that's why we're here. Obviously, we were expecting to have a party, but we're not. We're not having a party. First of all, massive shout out to the live chat. A lot of people have already come into the stream, which is great to see. Thank you so much for your support all the time. Keep the comments coming. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. A lot of things. So do appreciate your support. Smash the like button while you're at it as well. Helps the channel out. Helps the video out. KisHan, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, not great after yesterday. We thought we might be here celebrating the FA Cup win, but now it feels a bit flat, especially because this was the one we thought we had a better chance of winning, and now then the City one looks a bit bleak.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, we're going to get deep into it. Ameya, how you doing, my bro?
Yeah, all right after the good night's sleep. I think, still obviously not that okay. I don't know if you can call it that, but I'm looking forward to talking about it. Hopefully talking about it will help me accept the game, because as of now, I still can't believe that performance. I genuinely can't. I was on the live stream on my YouTube channel, and then I started screaming so loud when VAR chalked off that goal.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm looking forward to talking about it, and hopefully we can get closure on that game.
Absolutely. As much as closure as possible will be a bit of a therapy. But yeah, just like you, I was so ecstatic. I was like, yeah, as soon as that Chilwell goal went in, I thought, it's written in the stars. We can't lose this. It's all written. We're gonna win the FA Cup. We're gonna win the Champions League. But that's what VAR does. And then we'll talk about it, because obviously a lot of people in the social media are trying to blame, doing the blame game and blaming players, blaming the VAR. But let's start talking about, first of all, Thomas Tuchel. I'll go to you, KisHan, first up. I feel, and I just want to quickly say this to you. I just got this up, right? So we played City literally not many days ago in the Premier League, and we had Marcos Alonso as left wing back. We had Reece James as right wing back, and we had the defense of Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta. We had Kante, Gilmour, and up front we had Ziyech, Pulisic, and Timo Werner. Okay. Just a few days after that, against Arsenal, we had Zuma. We took off Rudiger. We brought in Kepa because obviously we're trying to warm him up for the Leicester game. Great warm up that was. And Reece James was still in the right wing back, but we have Ben Chilwell. So now Alonso, Ben Chilwell comes back in. Gilmour now partners Jorginho, no Kante. Yeah. And then up front, it's Mount, Pulisic, Havertz. So no Ziyech and no Werner. Yeah. Just a few days later, in the FA Cup loss that we just had, Timo Werner up front, Hakim Ziyech and Mount. So once again, change up front. Azpilicueta right wing back. Marcos Alonso left wing back. Reece James at the back with Thiago Silva and Rudiger. So Rudiger comes back in, and Kepa Arrizabalaga as the goalkeeper. Bro, for me, I feel like that's too much tinkering. Too many tinkering when from the Arsenal game, there was only 5 more games to play. So Arsenal, who was Leicester. After Arsenal? Leicester. Then there is Leicester again, Aston Villa, and Man City. It's 5 games. Already in the 5 games, the first 2 since the Man City game, so if you include the Man City one as well, what's going on, man? Like, is it too much to ask for the players these days that there's only 5 more games to go? I want to play my best team, and I want to see this season out. Like, we're not talking about there's 20 games to play that I need to rest players. You guys would have seen, I had Tony Mount here, and he said it. He was very humble. He was saying that I'm no coach. Like, I was a non-league manager. But at this point of the season, I would actually go up to the players and say, I'm going to play the best team. If you guys are fit, are you okay to start? And are you okay to carry on? and he was saying, walk up to Timo Werner and tell him on the Arsenal game, I want to rest you. And Timo Werner would have said, I don't want resting. Like, I want to play this game. Do you know what I mean? Walk up to Mason Mount against the Man City game and say, I want to rest you. He would have said, no, I want to play the game. So, KisHan, talk to me, man. Like, are you okay with the rotations? All of these rotations, especially the tinker job with Azpilicueta in the right wing back, when he's actually been pretty good as a right centre back. I completely understand Tuchel saying that, Reece James trying to handle Vardy, but it's not like Azpilicueta hasn't handled some of the speedsters this season. Like, he's trying to, he played against Sterling. He did a pretty good job not that long ago. And previously as well, we played the likes of Man United. We played the likes of Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and whatnot. Talk to me, man. Too many rotations or what?
I think the rotation, how we look at the rotation depends on the results. So when the results are going well, we look at the rotation and we'll say, oh, he's rotated. Everyone's getting a chance. And it doesn't matter who plays, we're getting all the results. And then on the other side, when it doesn't work, then we're as we were. And then we have to question all these decisions. But before the Arsenal game, I think speaking about it, I would have rotated the front line. But the only problem is when you rotate so much, how are these players supposed to get momentum? I remember when we were speaking about Pulisic earlier in the season, when he wasn't playing so much, he'd come off the bench and get 10 minutes, and it was almost like pity minutes where they didn't really count for anything. And you wonder how these guys are going to get momentum. And then it comes to Saturday, and we all wanted, even I wanted Ziyech in, but how is he going to get momentum when he's playing with different players all the time? And then he starts with Werner, he starts with Mount. And Mount himself, he's like the mainstay. So he'll pretty much always be in unless he's rested, which is quite rare. And then he's got all these different players around him. So one day he might be playing and your right wing back is Callum Hudson-Odoi that he gets on well with on the pitch, and you can see they have a good connection. Then maybe one day he has Azpilicueta there, and you just wonder, like, how are you going to build up any momentum like that? I think it's this new style that Pep has got, but Pep does have, I know we say we've got the second best squad, and it still probably is true, but Pep's, the level of players he has available are still probably a notch higher than ours. I think we have to watch it, and in these final 3 games, we need our best team out every single time now.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I'll go to Ameya this time. I mean, I had Ryan in the review yesterday, and he said something really great, and I agree with that. He said, you have the original framework that was working, Azpilicueta right centre-back, Thiago Silva or Christensen, Rudiger, Chilwell is doing a great job in the left wing-back position, Reece James doing a great job in the right wing-back position. They all understand each other in that formation. They know how to build up from the back. Then you have Kante and Jorginho. Sure, Billy Gilmore comes in and he's done a good job in between, but that's one rotation. We're not talking about several rotation at the back. And the front 3, obviously, it's changing, as KisHan's saying, but especially the back 5, Ameya, like when you're tinkering so much, different areas, and Alonso comes in and not whatnot. And I agree, like, fair enough, Alonso scored that winner against Man City, but it's not like Chilwell wasn't playing well. You know what I mean? Like, he's been assisting, he's been, in the goals as well in recent times. I feel like he's destroyed that original framework that was there. Like, do you feel that way as well?
I mean, I don't think he's destroyed it entirely, but I mean, the issue is the players that we have, like the Pep Guardiola example. I'll go back to that once again. Pep Guardiola, every single player that he has at his disposal fits the exact system that he wants to play. But right now, the tools that Thomas Tuchel has, the players, everyone has their individual strengths, and which is why it's hard for him to rotate without changing styles. For example, you mentioned Chilwell and Marcus Alonso. Marcus Alonso likes getting inside the box and getting his head or his foot onto the ball and scoring goals, while Ben Chilwell likes going wide and putting crosses in or cutting back or making those runs like he did yesterday for the disallowed goal. And then you've got midfield as well. And we've discussed this so many times that none of our midfielders are, complete in their own way. They have their strengths, but each of them also have their limitations. And it's the same when it comes to defense and when it comes to the goalkeeper as well. In fact, it's not just the back five who are getting chopped and changed. It's the goalkeeper as well. And the communication between the defenders and the goalkeeper is so important. And it's actually very important, a lot more important than general people give it credit for, which is also why when Mendy first came to England under Lampard as well, I remember that they used to speak in French. Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Zuma, and Mendy, they communicated in French until Mendy was comfortable with English. So all these sort of bonds, I don't know, this might sound kind of silly, but you know how you play on Ultimate Team and you have some on FIFA and you have something called chemistry in between the players. If you keep chopping up and changing the players, they're going to lose their chemistry. I know they train together every day, and I'm fairly certain like the starting 11.
When was the last time Kepa played before the Arsenal game?
I think it was
Brighton,
yeah, 0-0.
That was a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then
what he tends to do.
So that would have. I'm starting to just sort of dissect this. I reckon that would have really unsettled the players at the back a little bit, knowing that Kepa was there in the Arsenal game. As much as I get the ideology, the logic behind it, that he came in to get a bit of momentum before the FA Cup, but then I also question, where was the momentum for Ziyech? He played well against City, and then he got dropped against Arsenal, and then he got brought back in against Leicester. Like, where's the, there's a lot of contradiction, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. So some players are getting a certain treatment, other players are getting a different treatment. And we have to keep in mind that the board sometimes influences these decisions as well. I think I'm fairly certain that playing Kepa would have been a sort of decision that Tuchel probably might not have wanted to make. But, the board is so adamant on at least getting some of that 70 million that we paid for Kepa back, or at least having some resale value this summer, which is why I think the board is sort of forcing him to play. I don't know if that's true, but it has happened in the past. So, and I think there was an article about something related to that as well some time back. So I don't know how true it is, but that could also be a factor. So there's so many factors influencing the team selection that there's only so much Tuchel can do. And Tuchel himself likes to rotate a lot. He's been rotating a lot at every team that he's managed, PSG, Dortmund as well. He looks at the game in hand and then looks at the tools he has and then picks the lineup according to that. He never takes into consideration, form or how well the player has played in the past games. The main talking point for him basically before picking a lineup is analyzing how the opponents play and then analyzing which of our players are best suited to counter that. But it's not working at Chelsea. At Chelsea, especially in the Premier League, right? The Premier League is such a league where you can't afford to rotate. And we've seen that rotation has cost us so many points this season, even under Tuchel, right? So many draws where we could have so easily won, or ideally we should have been winning. So I don't know. I think Tuchel has to learn this, I guess. I mean, he did only get half a season, so I think we can't really judge him too much for it. The next season is where it gets interesting, but he's got to learn by now that you can't rotate that much in England as you can in the other leagues.
Look, definitely not having a mega go at Thomas Tuchel. He's done a madness, as I've always said. He's taken us to a position where it was probably unimaginable. But KisHan, I want to now just talk about this rotation. Firstly, what do you do for the final 3 games? Do you keep rotating? Like, what do you do the next? Like, Leicester game is literally in a couple of days. Like, do you now scrap everyone that played in this one and have a whole new team? Because I'm pretty certain Leicester's not going to change too much. I'm pretty certain they will not change too much. And this is where my issue is, that why are we having to change so much and they're not going to? A lot of people will say, oh, but they don't play. They literally are playing the same game as us today, and then they literally will play in 2 days' time again with us. And I'll be very, very surprised if they go out there and have a wholesale of changes, because I don't think they will. That's one thing I want you to sort of talk about. The other thing that I want to talk about is get your opinion on as well. I eventually next season, honestly, KisHan, I want this team to have that same mantra as Liverpool did when they won the Champions League and the Premier League last season, where their front 3 barely changed. It was Salah, Mane, Firmino. Salah, Mane, Firmino. Always. right? This season was a freak season for them where they had a lot of injuries and they needed to chop and change. Form was a bit bad. So talk to me about these two situations. One, the whole next Leicester game, to keep rotating, and also the long-term vision of trying to get, a stable top front three.
Yeah, for sure. So for the Leicester game, they're probably going to play the same 11. And then, so Johnny Evans went off injured. That'll probably be the only change with all Brighton coming in also. But it's really annoying that we don't have that. Like Ameya said, we have a framework where certain players are undroppable. Like your Mounts, he'll definitely start for us. But
I'm not sure, bro.
Now, yeah, literally, even if he didn't start now, you just think. But then at the same time, these attackers that we're playing, probably bar Mount, no one shows that much when they start. I guess in the City game, you could say like Ziyech started and he did well. So if he carried on, you never know what would have happened. But yesterday, he looked poor from the start. Timo Werner, he goes through phases where in some matches you think, okay, this guy has the potential to show us something next season. And then in some games, you just wonder where his brain is. Yesterday, there were situations where he was running at the
KisHan, do you reckon that break in between that Arsenal game for both Ziyech and Werner just stopped the momentum from how they played against City, where they were really good against City, Werner and Ziyech? Like, I just look back now. No, revisionism isn't always great. Hindsight is not the greatest way to think. But I feel like when you had such a great game against City, Ziyech and Werner, why not carry that on against Arsenal as well? Because but it's what Ameya said. Like it's like Thomas Tuchel doesn't care about form. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like I feel like Tuchel thinks each of these players has a good game quota. So if he puts Ziyech in and he plays well, he's thinking, okay, you can't have two good ones in a row. So I'll take you out and I'll try and maximize this by putting someone else in. And they might look at you and say, this guy's had a good game, so I need to perform. But it doesn't seem to work like that. It's no one can build up momentum and chemistry like the chat is saying. And then it gets to a point where you don't start your players, you go 1-0 down, and then you have to chuck them all on in one go and ruin the structure completely anyway. So yesterday, we go 1-0 down, and the changes don't come quite quick enough. Why aren't we chasing the game as soon as possible? And he chucks on Callum and stuff. And you can only really say we amped up the pressure in the last 10 minutes, and by that time, the game is already running away from you. So with this rotation thing, it's definitely a problem when the results are going right. So for the Leicester game, who do you start? Because you've started Werner, Ziyech and Mount, and two of them have not done well. So if you stick with them, you're starting with two players that might be shot on confidence after their last performance. Or do you go for like Pulisic and maybe have it? I'd definitely stick Pulisic in there. I thought he had a good cameo when he came on. But again, you don't know what you're going to get when he starts. He's a very good player, but there's no consistency with this team. So personally, I think he has to tinker the front line again.
Yeah, it's crazy that he's going to have to just. I don't know. I mean, I guess this is the theme of this season, the tinkering business. But I think long term, I would love to see him try and get a settled 11 so he can stick with it, and then here and there just change the one odd player that you need to. Not rotate 3 or 4 players every game. Like rotate the one. I have no issues if you just want to rotate 1, maximum 2 players to keep things fresh. But when you literally have changed your back line, not just that, you're starting to have Reece James in the right centre-back position where he was good. I'm not going to deny that he wasn't good. He was good, but he has been predominantly playing in the right wing-back position. Do you know what I mean? Like why break that? And I know Thomas Tuchel said post-match that he likes Azpilicueta's, adventurous sort of movement going forward. He thinks that he doesn't get that enough with Reece James, but he likes Reece James' defensive qualities. But my man,
I didn't understand that. How does it work in that order? If anything, it's the other way around.
Hey, that's how I feel. Like, why not give Reece the authority to go and attack Reece? Look what he did against Mendy, against Man City. Do you know what I mean? Like, give him that authority, that freedom to go out there and just annihilate their right back or left back. I just find it a bit baffling, man. Honestly, Ameya, from your side, man, you expecting more rotations or what?
Yeah,
For the next game?
definitely. 100%. You have to expect rotation. I think, especially on the back of that result, to answer your question, initially you said, would you put out the same team and ask them to go redeem themselves, or would you drop them and put the other teams, the other players who've been, watching from the bench, do you put them in and ask them to go prove themselves? I think that Thomas Tuchel is going to do the latter. I think he's going to make a few changes for this. Kovacic might come back. I don't know. He wasn't on the bench in our FA Cup final either, so I don't know the exact fitness of him. But I think the front three is probably be Kai Havertz, Pulisic, and Mount. I think for the league game, that's what I think he would do at least. Gives Ziyech and Werner a bit off. I think Kai Havertz seemed pretty decent when he came on as well. Didn't really get to do too much, but I don't know. The issue is everyone's inconsistent. There's no one attacking player who you can say that, all right, you know what, I'm going to bank on him this game, next game, and every game of the season. Probably you can mention Mount, but there's only so much he can do alone, right? I think he does give it his all every match, that's for sure. But you can't expect him to dribble past 8 defenders and then not make the keeper to score the goal, can you? So he's not Messi.
Exactly.
At least not yet. But we need that one player or one striker or a winger. Or, we need one Eden Hazard. That's what I want to say. We need that one player who's going to provide a spark no matter what, no matter the circumstances. And you know that when you give him the ball, something special is going to happen. And we have players in our squad who have the capability of being Hazard in the future, but not yet. And they've got to sort out their inconsistencies. And that's a fair point. But the season where we won the title, we didn't have any Champions League football.
That's the thing. It was just literally one game a week.
Yeah. So he could afford to do that. But I think that I'm not saying play the same team every 3 days, but because none of the players and their substitutes are fit a certain style of play. Once you've found a style of play that works for you, that works the best for most of the players. I'm not saying every player can get the best out of that system, but when you have a style of play that's going to work for most of the players, then stick to that lineup, especially now. I think we have a game 2 days from now, and then I think weekend against Aston Villa, and then we have a 1 week gap to the Champions League final. So don't think about the Champions League final right now. We have to win these 2 games if we have a chance of playing in the Champions League next season. So you go out there and you put out your best lineups for this one, as well as the game on the weekend, and then you have 1 entire week to prepare for the Champions League final. Hopefully he does that. I don't know, man. I really don't know. But on the other side, if he does rotate and if the rotations work, then full credit to him, right? And then everyone will start praising him, saying, he knows how to get the best out of everyone in the squad. He's giving everyone play time and all of that. So it's a really hard decision for him to make. And I think that we need a clear out in the summer. I saw a comment as well. Our squad is very bloated with players who are not bad, but aren't good enough to perform week in, week out. And once you segregate them and get rid of the players who are decent, but not this is what happened to Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
This is what's happening to Spurs as well. They don't have bad players, but they have players who turn up when they want to and not consistently, and that's what we should avoid at any cost. Get rid of all of them, replace them with leaders, replace them with players who are guaranteed to give it their all every week, and that's the only way we can talk about contending for the title next season. That's what Tuchel has been saying, that we're going to chase Man City from day one. Let's see how it goes. Confidence right now is very low though.
Yeah, this commentary from Sean, Chelsea FC, is really good. Our best lineup is one we played in the second leg versus Real Madrid. I have to agree, in recent times, that particular team looked very, very dynamic. In the last couple of games from the Arsenal game and the Leicester, I feel like our pressing and counter-pressing especially has sort of disappeared. We're not counter-pressing enough. We're not counter-pressing well enough to win the ball back from the opposition in their half. They've been sitting deep, but at the same time, whenever they do win the ball, we don't seem to really rush in and win the ball back from them much higher up to create chaos. let's talk about Kepa, guys. This is how I feel about Kepa. I'll go to you, KisHan. I understand what has happened. Okay, I understand that he's the cup keeper, and then Mendy is the league and whatnot, the Champions League. And I also understand that Thomas Tuchel wanted to give him a bit of a chance against Arsenal so he can build up to the Leicester game, right? I understand it, KisHan, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, right? And here's why I don't agree with it. Next season, honestly, KisHan, I don't want a cup keeper and a league and a Champions League keeper. I want one keeper. That's it. I want one keeper. And if for any chance that one keeper needs a bit of rest mentally, just need to cool things down, the backup keeper comes in and fills in just for that one game. Just for that one game. Not for any other games or anything like that. Unless the number one keeper has a bit of an injury, then the second keeper comes in. We got ourselves into this mess with this two-keeper business. And this is what I hate. The fan base has been asking, let's get Donnarumma as well. No. Mendy is the number one keeper. He's proven time and time again this season that he's a number one keeper. He's very good at what he's doing. Next season, he keeps in FA Cup and he keeps in Champions League and he keeps in the league as well. I don't want any other keepers trying to come in between and breaking that momentum unless if Mendy is injured or he just needs that one game where he just needs to chill for a little bit. Yeah? Is that how you feel as well, that we got ourselves into this mess of, now we got to give Kepa an opportunity? And let's be honest, whether that goal is saved by Mendy or not, which I personally think maybe it might have been, I'm not blaming Kepa for the loss against Leicester. I'm not blaming him. I think there were many other issues in that game where we were just bad. But what I'm saying is that's one rotation that doesn't need to happen. We forced ourselves to do that rotation. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. In terms of the having two keepers bit, I did understand it in the early rounds. So when you're playing Morecambe, you're playing Barnsley. I kind of understood that. If you don't give him any more games, then I do get that they try and preserve his value. Well, you can't preserve his value, but trying to get it up, trying to build his confidence. So I get the early rounds, but I think the stage I would have stopped is when we played Man City in the semi-final. That's way too big then. And like you said, when we saw him in that game and he did decent, we knew he'd start the final. There's no way he was going to not start the final. But it doesn't mean we agree with it. And with the goal yesterday, personally, I think he got so close to it that Mendy, who's, 4 inches taller than him, I think he gets a hand on that, to be honest. But again, that can't be Kepa's fault. But there's a reason that this guy isn't our number one and can't ever be our number one, because we saw the deficiencies in these long shots. The amount of long shots that have gone past him.
It's not a coincidence anymore. It's literally not a coincidence.
It's because he's not tall enough for a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
he's 6'2". He doesn't have the reach of someone like a Mendy. So yesterday, when that went past him, it's ultimately the manager's fault for putting him in. Yeah. Where before it was okay because there was no scenarios where Kepa sort of had the long shots go past him. But you got to ask yourself, if Tielemans is winding up from there, I know he's got a shot on him, but if Mendy is in goal, does he shoot? You got to think that as well. And I think
how many long shots has Mendy copped in recent times? Barely any. The Benzema one in the second leg, which he saved. That classic one with the left.
His height helped him there as well.
Yeah.
With ones like that. So if that one's going top corner, it felt like Tielemans, he laced it and he sort of drove it and it stayed in the air for a long time. It felt like it didn't just arrow in. Yeah. I think Mendy saves it, but again, that can't be Kepa's fault. We know his limitations as a goalkeeper. So don't play him in matches where he can do things like that. It's not even his fault. It's just he's not tall enough. That's your fault for buying a goalkeeper that's not tall enough. So if he lets goals in, ultimately it's up to you. And that's got to be all on Tuchel, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I mean, Ameya, is that the end for Kepa now for this season? Like, do you want to see Kepa at all for the next 3 games?
Definitely not. I mean, he's not the league keeper anyway. We have 2 very important games. And I think Liverpool take on West Brom later today. So if they do beat West Brom, then they're within 1 point of us, and they have better fixtures.
They're beating West Brom, bro. They're beating
Exactly. And they have better fixtures than us as well. Aston Villa away is not an easy fixture by any chance either. They're so good at defending, especially with John Terry in the part of the backroom staff under Dean Smith. So it's going to be very hard to score against Aston Villa. And how our attack performed yesterday, I have no confidence that we're going to score against Aston Villa if we do at all. So I think that we have to play our strongest lineup, as I said before, and we have to win these next 3 games. So when I say we have to play our strongest 11, that does not include Kepa. So we're going to have to play Mendy against Leicester in the Premier League and against Aston Villa later this week. And Mendy is the Champions League goalkeeper anyway, so I think the final shouldn't be much of an issue. But these next 2 games, Kepa, this season, nope. Next season, nope. Ever in a Chelsea kit again, nope. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and this is a point to sort of remember. Mendy goes to African Cup of Nations next year. That, Sean, for me is, at least I know, like that phase of the period, that it has to be a different keeper. What I'm upset in recent times is that Thomas Tuchel, it's like we've got ourselves into that mess of having to play Kepa because he's the so-called cup keeper. Do you know what I mean?
And then you have to give him a league game to build up momentum. And the league games, he has kept clean sheets in pretty much all of them, apart from Arsenal. But then you cut into that as well of Mendy's game quota, and there's really no reason for it, because Mendy is a first choice for a reason. The reason we bought him, because this guy couldn't save anything at the start of the season, and I know his confidence increased. So that's good on you. Keep training hard, and you'll get a move away somewhere. Someone will probably pick him up for first choice. I saw a link with Lazio today.
Yeah,
but it's just we can't be having that, especially in this league. And everyone thinks it's just shot stopping. It's not just shot stopping. Arsenal had a similar situation with Leno and Martinez. Leno's nowhere near as bad as Kepa, but Mendy oozes confidence and he makes everyone calm around him. When the ball comes into a box, he's so massive that he's always catching and stuff. Yeah. So you can't replicate it.
There's a definite swagger, KisHan, with Mendy, and you saw it against Real Madrid. The kind of saves he was making, it was galvanizing the team. It really was lifting the team spirit. Do you know what I mean?
He'll save something, he'll turn around and shout at the defense.
Yeah,
we need that.
Once again, to the live chat, not blaming Kepa for the loss. Yeah, I'm just saying, in the broader perspective of the things, Kepa is not the number 1 keeper, and we got ourselves into this mess of having a league keeper and a cup keeper. We don't need to get ourselves into this mess ever again next season. That's what we're trying to say. All of this matters in the broader spectrum of things in terms of chemistry for the team. You keep tinkering every single game, take a keeper out, put a different keeper, put different defenders. You're bound to have a certain level of miscommunication here and there, and that's what we're seeing. Boys, let's talk about Tammy Abraham. I'll go to you, Ameya. Both you boys, you know how I felt about Tammy Abraham. I didn't really give too much airtime, and I was really annoyed with the people that were talking about it because I thought Thomas Tuchel was winning, so I don't want to question his authority. Now Thomas Tuchel's had 2 back-to-back losses. I need to question the fact that why are you bringing Giroud on?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing Giroud on against Arsenal with 10 minutes to go? It literally has no pace, no nothing. I thank him for his services. I really do. But he does not have the legs anymore. It's not like he can do a massive impact with 10 minutes to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we are also playing with the target man where we're bombing the ball into him so he can do his hold up. We're not even playing like that. He does the same thing for Leicester as well, brings in Giroud. I need to now question, is Tammy not worth giving an opportunity ahead of Giroud? Like, I feel like Giroud is not the answer, my man. And I know
Yeah.
Tammy is not the answer either. I get Tammy's not the answer, but if you're going to throw the dice and you're going to bring someone like Giroud, you might as well bring someone like Tammy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's quicker. He may have that, that extra bit of energy to run, to press. Isn't that worth doing?
It is. It definitely is. And at least if you're not going to be part of the starting 11, at least keep him on the bench. I think that was very disrespectful not having Tammy Abraham on the bench at all. I mean, he's literally a top scorer in the FA Cup this season. He is our cup striker. So I think that not having him on the bench, at least, I mean, think about if we won the trophy, right? And then obviously Tammy Abraham's going to go up there and celebrate with the team because he's contributed a major part of us getting to this point. So I really don't understand why Tammy Abraham's being excluded so much. I mean, I know that whenever Tuchel gets asked this question, he keeps saying that we look at training and then we have a very big squad and then I can only pick 18 players before.
I'm starting to think he's been always honest. I'm starting to think that portion of his answers, I don't think he's being honest about that. I think there's some politics that's happening in the background.
I think there is. There may be, there may not be. We'll never know. And that's the sort of thing that, when you look at managers who come to Chelsea Football Club, every time they lose, you can look at the expression on their face and they're just drained, right? I remember Antonio Conte as well in the second season, and then Frank Lampard this season, earlier on this season as well. They're just so drained from all the club politics, and that's bringing us down, man. The internal politics of the club is bringing us down. And that's what I was talking about. Not having him on the bench. But Giroud, I don't even know what's the point. He's going to leave this summer. I think his contract's out. So he's not staying for next season. There's no point. It's not like we have to play him to increase his value because no one's going to buy him. He's going to leave on a free. And I respect Giroud a lot. He was probably such a good player under Sarri as well. He helped get the best out of Eden Hazard, and Hazard came out and said that Giroud is the best target man in the world. So there's a lot of importance about Giroud. He's a World Cup winner, right? He won the World Cup 3 years back. So there's a lot of respect to his name. But at the same time, I look at Giroud now, and I don't really know what he can offer. I think that's a good point. Actually, he does have a lot of experience, so he might, pop up with that late goal, throw himself at a cross, and sometimes it goes in. But I just don't see it
that's
now.
the thing. But that's the thing, Ameya, isn't it? It's not like we're bombing in crosses for him left, right, and center for him to create chaos. It's not like our defenders are going route one straight to Giroud. We're still playing the passing and trying those intricate. I feel like it doesn't make sense.
It genuinely doesn't make sense, and I would be very surprised if Tammy is excluded from the next match day squad as well. I think he's gonna cop a lot of hate if he leaves.
He's gone. Tammy's gone. It's finished.
Yeah, exactly. But at least never mind whether he's going to be here next season or not. If he improves the team, then he has to play. It's as simple as that. And as it stands, I think at least on the bench, definitely, having two left backs on the bench makes zero sense to me. We have Emerson and Chilwell or Alonso, depending on who's starting and who's on the bench. And I know that Tuchel sees Emerson as more of a left centre back rather than a left wing back, but I just don't get some of the selections, honestly. And Tammy Abraham, I've spoken in defense of Tammy a lot, and I know that he's probably not. He's not Harry Kane. He's not Erling Haaland. He's not Romelu Lukaku. No way. He's any one of those three. He's not at the level of any of those three players, but he's the best we've got as an alternative, right? The only other option is Werner, who's not physical enough, who's not strong enough, and he runs in behind, and he is an asset, but he also has his limitations. And then you have Kai Havertz, who's not a natural striker. He likes to drop back into midfield and create that sort of space for the other attackers to go into. So Tammy Abraham is the closest to the traditional number 9 that we have in our squad, and I don't understand his exclusion. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, and as I said, if you're winning, no one's going to question you. You continue on. It's when you're losing, obviously there will be questions. KisHan, look, it looks like Tammy's gone. He's not even in the squad anymore, let alone being in the bench. Do you know what I mean? I'm genuinely concerned, because I can't rely on Giroud for another season as being a backup. Do you know what I mean? And it seems like Timo Werner, whether he comes good or not, yet another crazy performance from him against Leicester where he was shooting just deserted him in his decision making. There was a few times where he could have put the ball through to Ziyech or Mount. He didn't release them. And then when he took a shot, it was just wild. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure whether I can trust him next season in terms of delivery. I trust him to be a player in our squad. There's no issues with that. He's been contributing for goals, assists, and whatnot. I don't know if he's that 20-goal scorer. If he can fix up his missing opportunities, fine. Kai Havertz, I think he's a fantastic player, but once again, I can't trust him to get me 20 goals plus next season. Do you know what I mean? So if you take those two players out, well, Tammy is leaving and Giroud is definitely not going to be someone I can rely on for 20 goals. We're in serious trouble, bro. We're in serious trouble next season. I mean, I'm at a point now, and I want to get your thoughts on it. We have to break the bank for one of these big strikers. I think we have to.
Literally, we've thought this even when we were playing well. So imagine now. And then a few days ago, I heard a quote coming out of, I think it was Matt Law that said Tuchel would be happy if the squad stays the same. Obviously, he wants the acquisitions, but he would be happy if the squad kind of remained. And I was thinking, how can you be happy with this squad? The squad is brilliant, don't get me wrong, but in terms of what we need up front, we literally don't have it. And with the Tammy stuff, I agree. I don't think he's the answer, like you, Miz. I don't think he ever will be the answer for us in terms of the first choice striker, but he's good enough to be on our bench and should definitely have been at least on the bench yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if he should, like I said, with the Giroud thing, I'm still not sure whether he should get time with his Giroud. But the thing is, like you said, is when we bring Giroud on, it's not like we play to his strengths anyway, apart from like the last 5 minutes where we chuck balls into a box. But how many crosses actually went into Giroud yesterday? There was a one that Chilwell nodded down, but apart from that, what else was there?
Zero, bro. Zero.
So I don't think we can even blame him for it. But it's more with Tammy, not going to be the answer. So it's like we'd 100% have to get someone in the summer, and we have to maximize how much we get from Tammy because he's not a bad player. When you look at some of these players with Premier League experience and how much they're moving on for, with like Ollie Watkins going for 35, we should comfortably get 40 odd million for him and stick it in to one of the strikers. I know me and you think we have a slight chance of getting Kane, but if not, then there's the other two big ones in Lukaku and Haaland too. And we have to break the bank for someone.
And
like
you know
said,
what?
Yeah.
You know what, KisHan?
Yeah.
We miss out on top 4 and we don't win Champions League. Forget about those players that we've been talking about. Harry Kane's not going to come to play Europa League again. He just played Europa League.
This is the one big thing I say about the FA Cup. I always thought that the same team won't win the FA Cup and then the league game. But the one thing for us is if we do the top 4 in the league, we can still attract those players because it's not like Lukaku or a player would say, oh, they've won the FA Cup but finished 5th. Let me go there and play in the Europa. They rather us finish in the top 4 and not look at the FA Cup. So that's the one consolation I'll take. We still should have won yesterday. But in terms of that, we need someone big. And like you said, you can't rely on even Havertz to get goals. But another thing is with chance creation, like, do you think Havertz is that guy that is going to make a lot of chances for a striker? Because I can't see where the chance creation is coming from in this team, bar maybe some individual brilliance from Mount. Because
and Werner in recent times, Werner's the one who's been assisting.
We don't make, and those are all on the counter, Miz, if you look at it. We don't make chance. Real Madrid was the game where we had a lot of chances, but bar that, I can't really think of a game where we've like peppered teams. You know how like City, like De Bruyne will whip up a ball in that's like 1 yard away for Aguero to tap it. Where's our chances like that? It all seems like our goals have to come from individual brilliance or from counters pretty much. There's no intricate play. Back in the day, we used to have a defensive mid that consisted of like Fabregas. Even Matic could play through balls. Our
Bro, we had ballers. We had Mata, Oscar,
Hazard,
Fabregas, Hazard. Like, this is what I've been saying, that we're missing that midfielder. You look at our midfielder, and I'm going to get to this super chat very, very soon because it is a talking point. I did want to have a talk about Leicester as well, but you look at the midfielders, Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic. There's no goals there, and there's no assists there either. Like, do you know what I mean?
Bro, you look at how Leicester won the game yesterday. That says it all. Tielemans from way out pings it into the top corner, and we've not had anyone like that since probably Frank. And you know how many goals you can actually get like that? If you look back on Frank's career and look at how many goals he got from outside the box.
Look at all the teams that hang back. You can literally just ping it. Do you know what I mean?
If you've got that in your locker, you will get so many. And how many times has Tielemans done that for Leicester?
Quite a few. Seriously, quite a few times.
This season as well. Yeah, exactly.
And not just that, boys. Tielemans has assists in him as well. Like, it's not just about goals. He can set up goals
brilliant.
as well.
He's a brilliant passer, and he plays from quite deep as well. So I just don't understand where we're going with this midfield. I know with Jorginho, we've given him a lot of praise as well because he was doing well. But I think it's important to look at his last two games, and it kind of feels like it's going back to that level of, you know, when Frank was here and we don't want to see him on the team sheet. It feels like that again.
Yeah, I've said it. We need a striker that's going to bang in 20 goals. We need a midfielder that can score goals and assists because we don't have that. So I don't care who goes. I don't care who leaves in terms of Kovacic, Jorginho, Kante. That's not my issue. My issue is we need someone that can actually produce assists and goals from midfield. It's very important because we don't have a Liverpool kind of front three that just bangs in goals. Right, so these two things really needs to be addressed. Let's talk a little bit about this super chat. I've seen Amate tossing our badge. Honestly, I just want to say, look, I loved everything about. I like Leicester as a team. I really do. I think they're a very humble team. They're a very nice team. You know, when they won the Premier League, I think everyone wanted them to win the Premier League. FA Cup, a lot of people have been saying if we have to lose to someone, it might as well be Leicester because they haven't won the FA Cup ever. 5 times gone to the final, they've not won it. And you look at their celebration post-match, bringing their owner out and celebrating as a unit. It just shows exactly how a team should be run, a club should be run with the owner and whatnot. But I must say that Amati footage, I even wrote it to Leicester Fan TV's YouTube channel. They were, you know, talking how they're very happy, and I said congratulations to you guys. But if you guys ever get the opportunity to speak to one of your players, please tell Daniel Amati that that's not necessary. What you did, that's disrespect to grab the opposition flag and then throwing it. Why are you doing that? You won. Celebrate. I've got no issues with you celebrating. If you want to banter, banter. But that is literally, for me, that is disrespect. Ameya, how'd you feel about that, man?
I don't think it was necessary, like you mentioned, but I think you're playing the devil's advocate here. He's probably won a trophy for the first time with Leicester, so he's obviously very excited about that. And you know, he probably doesn't know what he's doing, right? He looked pretty peppered as well.
He definitely didn't think.
And it wasn't on live television either. I don't even know if he knew that he was probably being recorded. I don't know who's. I think it was an Instagram live, wasn't it?
Yes, Fofana's Instagram live.
Yeah, Fofana's Instagram live. So
it was an Instagram live. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought one of his mates sold him out.
No, it was an Instagram live, and then someone screen recorded it and then found out and then posted it on Twitter. So I really think it's disrespectful, yes, but I think that, you know, probably once the mood all calms down, probably Brendan Rodgers is going to sit him down and say, you know what, look, that's disrespectful. You shouldn't be doing that. We won. Be happy, celebrate at your own terms, but don't disrespect the opposition. That's all. I can't look too much into it, honestly. I mean, there's no point in holding grudges or anything. It's not even like, I mean, with the highest of respect, he's a bench player for Leicester, so there's no point in holding any grudges against him. It was heat of the moment. He was enjoying himself. He was happy. He was peppered, and that he decided to do something he shouldn't have. That's all I would like to say.
Same for me. I think if we don't want him to do it, we should have won the match.
Exactly. That is one way of looking at it, to be honest. Let's talk about Azpilicueta and Reece James. All right. First of all, I want to talk about Azpilicueta. I'll go to you, KisHan. a lot of people are having a mad go at Azpilicueta and the video post-match, him smiling. I saw the interview, bro, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's not like he's just smiling and laughing out of thin air. Like, it's not like there was literally the journalist was smiling and laughing as well while asking the questions. They were talking about Champions League stuff and whatnot, and Azpi wasn't just out there just grinning and laughing his head off. I think it's just his nature. When he's talking, he talks in that manner. He's not someone who just talks like, like that. He doesn't talk like that. He's talking the way he normally talks all the time. I've never seen an Azpilicueta interview, even when we've lost other matches, where he's been, that's just the way he talks. He talks with a smile. There's no doubt that he's hurting. Even in that interview when he was saying, like, they wanted to win. They put their best efforts to win. Like, some fans are going out there and really trying to brand him that, oh, he's such a poor, weak leader. Do you know what I mean? JT would have never done that. Mate, now we found another reason to blame someone? Like, talk to me, bro.
I think all this stuff happened after the game. Like, you have lost the game. For me personally, I don't look too much into the stuff like after the game. So with this Amati thing, I get it's wrong, but things happen like that. With the Azpilicueta thing, I didn't personally watch the interview because I was just so done with all the... Once we lost that game, I just put all that stuff away, didn't watch anything about it. But from what you said, Miz, it sounds like it's been taken out of context. And I think a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this because they want someone to stay sad and show that they're sad. But obviously inside, he's going to be hurting. He's a proper Chelsea player. He's been a captain for this team. He's been great. And you can't really say that about him because you just look at what he's done for this club. And I get... that's just his personality as well. You can't get someone to hide it all the time. For me, you got to look away from this. It doesn't mean everyone has to say so sad at the loss. It's massively disappointing, don't get me wrong. But you have to move on eventually. And this interview was explaining, I guess it must have been explaining why things happened and stuff like that. And he's done plenty of other stuff in his career, so...
Yeah, it was about why, what happened. And then the journalist was sort of laughing as well, saying, now are you focused on the Champions League? And then he was like, nah, we've still got a couple of more games. We're not thinking about Champions League. And he was talking with a smile. And, people forget the context that they're talking about.
The quote came out saying that in this season, we've still got 3 games left and everything is still in our hands. Stuff like that. He's going to have to say things like that. What do you want him to be? That depressed that his head's not in the game for Leicester on Tuesday and then for the Champions League final? Like, you'd rather him come out and say, yeah, we did poorly, but we're on to the next one and we move on. And that's what I think we all have to do as fans.
Absolutely, man.
What else can we do?
What else can we do? I don't know. Ameya, what's your thoughts? Do you reckon that, like, some people have just been a bit too harsh on Azpilicueta?
Yeah, I think they have been a little bit harsh, but I can sort of teensy bit just because we've got to get the engagement going. I'm just gonna look at the other side of the coin here, just a teensy bit. I'm not saying that it's justified. I'm not saying you have to abuse him at all, right? I'm looking at the point of view from what those people were coming at, and that's what I'm gonna look at. So the interview, I watched the entire interview, and I think you're right. I think he has to remain positive, right? He can't come out and say, you know what, that's our season done. We're gonna lose the next 3 games. Everyone's depressed in the dressing room. He can't come out and say that. He's the captain. He's an ambassador for our club to the media, right? And everyone's going to look up to him and how he responds. And if he responds in a positive manner, then I think everyone in the dressing room is also going to be like, okay, you know what? Our captain is still positive and we still have 3 very important games coming up. And if we win all three of them, then it's not going to be a disaster of a season at all. So I think that's one way to look at it. But the other way to look at it, and I'm not talking about the laugh here, the laugh 100% taken out of context. I'm with you guys on this one. If I see anyone posting that, I'm just going to block the user who posts that smiling stuff. But that's 100% taken out of context. But at the same time, and I really have to ask this, and this is a bit of a controversial one, but do you guys look at Azpilicueta and think he went into the dressing room and gave everyone a nice hearing about how the performance was and about how we should have rather been so much better? Genuine question, guys.
Here's the thing. It's a very good question. I mean, it really is. And I want to see what live chat has to say as well. What do you want him to say, though, post-match? Because Mason Mount had a very good opportunity and it was brilliantly saved. Timo Werner has been inconsistent and then he's been missing and then shooting like a crazy guy throughout the season. Jorginho doesn't close down Tielemans. Silva doesn't close down Tielemans. Reece James has a mistimed pass that leads to the Tielemans goal, which was intercepted. As Thomas Tuchel said, he felt that the team actually played all right. Like, that we had more chances than Leicester. I kind of disagree in the sense that I feel like we needed to have more energy. Yeah. But exactly. I don't know exactly what Azpilicueta can go out and say, because the energy also comes from, I feel, the way the boss sets us up and the lineup, because this lineup had Alonso. So what energy do you want? He's not going to be great with counter pressing. Do you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect. Chilwell is far better at counter pressing. Reece James is playing as a right centre back. He generally plays as a right wing back. So he can use the energy further forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, generally you play with Mount, Timo Werner and Pulisic, perhaps, like that was the team that we played against Real Madrid. They press really well. Ziyech does press well, but Ziyech is in and out. So I don't know. A lot of people trying to say that why can't Azpilicueta do what John Terry did? Really go out there post match or halftime, and I don't. At this level, do you really still need motivation? Like, do you not know the situation?
What I'm saying, just let me just say that you mentioned yourself about all the different things, but do you think each and every player gave their 100% yesterday? Do you think they played like they were playing for a final? And I'm not saying that we weren't unlucky. We were unlucky for sure. Exactly. Why haven't they? It's not our job to question them. It's the captain's job to body. It's the manager. It's the captain together. They should rip into that dressing room and they should go up to every player individually and be like, why weren't you up to it? Why did you think this was a league game? Why didn't you play like it was the last game? Why didn't you play like there was a trophy at the end of 90 minutes? Because we genuinely treated this like how we treat any other game. I mean, we saw more intensity for the Real Madrid game, like that sort of intensity. We needed that intensity yesterday. And I'm not saying that we weren't unlucky. And I'm not saying that probably a couple of individual mistakes cost us the game, probably a few bad decisions in the front three. But the team didn't give their 100%. And when when you're a captain of the team and you know that your team isn't giving you 100%, you've got to be vocal about it in the dressing room. And I don't know if he has been, like, full credit.
But that's the thing, like we're assuming that he may or may not have. Like, Thomas Tuchel has said, and I'll bring KisHan into the mix. Thomas Tuchel has said in not that many press conferences ago that when he was asked who are some of your warriors in the team, and he literally handpicked Azpilicueta as being one of the warriors in the team. And he said, don't mess with Kovacic and Rudiger either. Like, they're proper warriors. And he said Azpilicueta is one of them. So I'm not denying that Azpi doesn't show that same sort of aggression that JT shows on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And what JT has shown, some, the images that we've seen in social media, what he has done, in the dressing room. But I don't know, KisHan, what's your thoughts, man? I don't want to hinge it all on Azpilicueta not doing all these sort of things. And I'm annoyed with the team that, why do you need a wake-up call all the time? Why do you need to kick up the back all the time? Do you not know? Do you not understand that the Arsenal game was important? Do you not understand that the FA Cup game is important? Do you need a kick up? When's the next kick up the arse that you need? Which one? Do you need a kick up the back against Aston Villa as well? Do you need a kick up the back against Leicester?
Man City, maybe Man City. That was the thing, because I remember literally watching you after Arsenal game, and you said, why do we need it after the Arsenal game? And that one didn't mean as much as this one. And then we thought they might iron it out after that game. But the the annoying thing is, I get what Ameya is saying about Azpilicueta, but I think that kind of stuff needs to be done before the match. So you don't let it even get to after the match. Because after the match is done, what difference does it make? You can shout at anyone all you want, but it's not going to change the result. This is why I don't look into it that much after the game. But before the game, I think it kind of is the captain's job, and he might have done this to rally up the troops. But like Ameya said, it's you have to look at his personality and think, can you imagine this guy doing that? And I can't imagine him rallying up the troops to that degree. But again, it's not like, I get what you're saying, Ameya, but and I get it from Miz's side. Like, these people, some of them are 29, 30. You've got some kids mixed into it. But if I'm being honest, the kids don't seem to be the problem. I don't look like you have to. You don't have to G up Reece. You don't have to G up Mason Mount. He should be the captain, really.
You saw what Tony Mount said on the video. Does it look like you need to G up Mason Mount? Does it look like you need to? His dad is going to be behind his back.
Literally, Tony Mount has done that, and Mason Mount better send this medal to them before the Champions League game and hope the message sticks with them, because I don't, like you said, they shouldn't. And then it comes back to these players that we've been protecting so much. So Miz, with players like Jorginho, even when they've been doing well, I understand some people have constantly said, oh yeah, but eventually it'll catch up to him and stuff. And you got to look at them and say they do have a point. We can't just completely dismiss these people if they think some of these players have mentality issues. Because you look at how many finals we've lost, and someone put the stat out. We've only won 3 in 11. I guess some of those are community shields and whatever. I don't look at that.
Super Cup as well.
But if you take out the community shield, I count the Super Cup though. I think Super Cup is quite
I
important.
do as well.
But if you take out the community shield, I saw that it was 3 out of 8. Because there was only 3 community shield.
But if you look at the FA Cup ones, and the statistic we bring up is we've been in the final 4 years out of 5, and we've only won 1. So it does kind of show. And I think every single time we've lost it in those years. Before this, I hadn't seen us lose an FA Cup before the Arsenal time. And every single time we seem to go in as favourites. And that's when the problem happens. So when we played Arsenal both the times, once we were league winners, and then the second time, it was just last season. And I don't know what seems to happen to this team. And it always seems to be like there's some sort of referee factors or whatever. But we have to look at ourselves and think, you're going to get all of that. The whole world is behind Leicester. When you're watching Leicester against Chelsea, the whole world is behind Leicester. They're going to make more noise in the stadium and stuff like that. Why can't we be prepared for that kind of thing? It probably feels like this team is prepared for the intricate play and stuff, but when the going gets tough and you need to body players, the annoying thing is we've seen this in games against Real Madrid, so it's there. Like Ameya said,
exactly.
Like Ameya said, it's like that Arsenal kind of thing where we'll do it when it suits us and when you want to, and we'll take you to the final, and then we'll lose. What's the point?
What's the point, man? Honestly, what's the point? Brent Smith, thank you so much for the super chat. As bad as we were, though, it still took Schmeichel to single-handedly, literally win them the game. He wanted it more than our whole team combined. Yeah, man. Like, you saw Schmeichel, he was not going to let nothing go in. He wasn't going to let anything go in.
When you hear people talk about the game, I think people get this perspective that Leicester deserved to win and they were so good. They were as bad as us, if we're being honest, but they have someone in their team in midfield who can do that, and we don't. And sometimes that's all it takes in these games.
Exactly right. Exactly. I cannot lie one bit. Ameya, in regards to Reece James and Azpilicueta, I feel like we've overcomplicated ourselves a little bit at the end of the season. And this madness started happening from the Real Madrid game, where Azpi started becoming right wing back, and we had Christensen as the right centre back, and now we're seeing Reece James. Obviously, it worked against Real Madrid, fine, but what does it mean for the long run? Because I feel like if we're gonna continue with 3 at the back and we want a wing back, I'm sorry, Azpi is not a wing back. I'm sorry,
he isn't.
So I think Reece James can be a very good right centre back. I think he has the makings of it, but we need to think deeply about what we want to do with the right wing back spot.
Yeah, I think the West Ham game was it where he first played as a right wing back, and everyone was very surprised. And then the Real Madrid game as well. But I think initially, I think it started because he wanted to include Christensen into the mix as well. I think Thiago Silva and Rudiger were more or less fixed on their spots, and then he wanted to include Christensen as well because Christensen was playing well. But at the same time, he couldn't leave Azpilicueta out, so he had to get Azpilicueta in as well. And I think we spoke about this the last time, right? He's just found a way to include everyone into the lineup, and that's unfortunately come at the expense of Reece James. But then now Christensen got injured, and then Azpilicueta moved back into the right centre back role for the last match, and Reece James played as right wing back. And then again for the final, Reece James played as right centre back and Azpilicueta as right wing back. I don't know what to make of that, honestly. Like, genuinely, I was very surprised when that happened. I'm not saying Reece James had a bad game. I thought he was excellent. He bodied Vardy so many times. I remember that one clip where Vardy just managed to get ahead of him, but then Reece James got ahead of him and then bulged him off the ball and then covered him until it went out for a goal kick. So Reece James definitely had a good game there. I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, yeah, exactly. Especially in the final, right? I mean, if it was a league game, fine. It's a bloody final. You can't be experimenting there. I'm not saying it didn't pay off because Reece James played well. Fortunately, he played well. But at the same time, you could, if you look at the flip side of it, he tried a sort of pass that he would try as a right wing back and not as a right centre back, which led to the goal.
Spot on. I was thinking that as well when I saw the goal. That had Azpilicueta played in Reece James' position, Azpi's going wide to Reece James.
Yeah,
he's not taking that straight through the middle pass, the Hollywood pass, from so deep in the position. You try that further up so that they don't have the opportunity to take a shot. Azpi passes it to Reece. Reece then tries to find someone out wide up front. Because it's Reece, he hasn't played that match often enough. Yeah. So he makes that pass, which gets intercepted, and then you're isolated in midfield. And Tielemans had the world in his, the time of his world to line up a shot. But yeah, continue. It's a very good point, man. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't be surprised to see that pass from Reece James if he played at right wing back, right? Yeah. So that's that's a sort of element that I remember long back. I think it was when Leicester beat City, and I don't know why I remember this for some reason. It's just because I found the point so interesting. So Leicester beat City 5-3, I think, earlier in the season at the Etihad. And there was that one point that I forgot the pundit as well. He made a point that Nathan Ake, he had the ball, he had time, and he could have easily played it back to Edison, and we know how good Edison is with his feet, but then instead he chose to clear it, which allowed Leicester to get the ball, and then they scored from there. So that sort of involuntary, in that split second when you get the ball, you don't have so much time to make a decision. You got to do it instantly, right? And then instantly Reece James' brain, his brain is used to playing as a right wing back, his brain instantly said, try that pass, it's going to come off, right? And then he tried it. So I mean, you can't really blame him for that. He tried to be ambitious, and he tried that pass. But at the same time, if he had more experience playing there, then his brain would have told him, you know what? No, you can't pull this pass off. You're playing as a right centre back, not as a right wing back. Play it out wide, play a safer option, keep the ball. But then, so I can't really blame the Reece James for that. So it's Reece James Azpilicueta situation. It's become very complex, and personally, Reece James at right wing back is much better. And I know that Tuchel said that Azpi is more risk-taking, and you could see that actually Azpi was getting in the box and whatnot. Yeah. So fair play for that, but it didn't work as we wanted because Azpilicueta simply does not have that cross, does not have that end product that Reece James has. I mean, Reece James' low-driven crosses into the box are probably one of the best in the league, right? Where he gets to the byline and then cuts it back in. He's excellent at that. And how many times have we seen him cross it and Giroud head it, or Tammy head it, or someone get the ball in the back of the net from his crosses? So I think Reece James at right centre back, is he good? Yes. But is he better at right wing back? Also yes. And should we switch to 4 at the back and have Reece James as a right back next season? Also yes.
Yeah, I agree, man. I absolutely agree. But we've now created a massive conundrum and a confusion that what do we do in the upcoming games? What do we do in the final? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Everything was set in stone that Azpilicueta is the right centre-back, and then you have either Reece James or Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now we've mixed ourselves up. Now we're like, well, Azpi doesn't cut it as a right centre-back, so we're going to have someone else, Christensen, and then put Azpi as the. I'm pretty sure Christensen comes back very soon into the team, and he'll be the right centre-back. He'll be the right centre-back.
And then, like you said it before, it was between Reece and Callum, and now Callum Hudson-Odoi is completely pretty much gone out of the squad. He'll never start a game. You'd be really surprised if he starts a game. And with him, I can't really see what he's done wrong. Every single time he seems to play, I know even when he got subbed against Southampton, to me, he didn't look like he did anything wrong, but Tuchel cleared that. And then he plays him against Atletico Madrid. And then since then, it's just seemed to go downhill for no apparent reason to me. I don't know if there's something in training or whatever, but he seems like such a spark that we're lacking. When he's on the ball, he provides this different type of dribbling to Werner. You want to give it to him when he doesn't have the ball and he's running into space. Pulisic is more silky on the ball, trying to beat a player. And this guy is direct, and it's something that we miss so much, which is really annoying. I want us to get a front three or a front four and stick with them through some bad games. Just let them iron them out.
Yeah, man. Look, that's the thing, right? You need to have that stomach to go through the bad games and still be able to stick with the players and keep giving them opportunities. Like, there's two sides of the spectrum here, right? One is you got players like Ziyech and Timo Werner who does well against City, but then gets dropped against Arsenal to bring in Pulisic and Havertz. And then you drop Pulisic and Havertz because they don't play that good game against Arsenal. And then you bring back Timo Werner. So what do you do now? You drop again Timo Werner and Ziyech and bring back Pulisic and Havertz? You can't just keep doing that. You can't.
Literally. So I think Sean from the comment said the front three we had against Real Madrid looked the best. But then
it was.
You chop and change that. So then you put Kai Havertz with someone else that he's not played as much with. And then you see him. The thing with him is the chance that he missed against Arsenal, it was so independent of someone else that it was away and he missed that. So you think, okay, fine, then we'll take you out because you didn't have a good game. And then it all just crumbles around the place. I think it has to be a set three. It's either the first leg against Madrid, that one when you had Werner, Pulisic and Mount, that looked good, or the second leg,
one. Havertz, Werner, Mount.
It's one of those two.
Yeah,
if you're saying which one's the best one.
And you know what? Stick with it. Stick with it. Even if it means, and I love Hakim Ziyech, I really do. You guys all know it. Even if it means that we're going to get the odd rumor here and there that Hakim Ziyech wants to leave, so be it. So be it. Because this season wasn't about, I need to keep this player happy. I need to keep that player happy. No, this season was about, let's get it all together. Chelsea needs to get to, the pinnacle all the time. We've gone there, and it's about winning now. And now we've already lost one of them, and we're about to probably bottle the top four as well. And God knows what's going to happen in the Champions League. Because if we don't get Champions League, we don't get top four, we've already lost FA Cup. Well, what does it matter?
What difference 3 or so days makes, honestly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Honestly.
Exactly. Let's talk about this one from Tyrone. This is a really good one that I want to bring up as well. Kovacic needs to be integrated back into the team. He won't just be the same he was before. Jorginho, I want to talk a little bit about Jorginho. I'll go to you, KisHan. He's been good under Thomas Tuchel predominantly. I have not liked him against Arsenal. I definitely did not like him against Leicester. He points at Thiago Silva to close down Tielemans when, mate, why don't you try and close him down as well? Well, I know you're a little bit far away from Tielemans, but why don't you try and apply that? Why don't you try and get closer to that as opposed to pointing at Thiago Silva to come in? Thiago Silva is there to be blamed as well. Like, why are you? The thing with Thiago is maybe he's thinking, I think Vardy was making a run in between. So Tielemans could have slid that through and then Vardy's one-on-one, right? So he's probably thinking, I need to make sure the pass doesn't come in. But then Thiago needs to have faith in Reece James to ensure that he covers that. But
Yeah.
this all comes into the whole phase of chopping and changing and chopping and changing. No one really knows who to trust and what not. But I feel like Jorginho against Arsenal and Leicester, it's not like he's done amazingly at all. And I'm really starting to get annoyed how at times where he's pointing and he should be the one doing it. And we missed that extra little bit that Kovacic gives from building from the back and that drive, and he'll go through the defense. Like, especially that goal, KisHan, that Tielemans scored, it was an interception off the back of a Reece James pass. And literally Tielemans was just there because they were opportunistic that if we can nick the ball, we have our man ready, and I just need to lay the ball to him and he's ready to have a mad ping. These things don't happen just like that. You know it, KisHan. These things don't just happen like that. They've literally thought about this. Brendan Rodgers must have thought about this, that if we can press them a little higher and win the ball from the back, we can catch out Jorginho in the middle and then we can release Tielemans. What do you have to say about the whole thing about Kovacic maybe having to come back? Do you want to see him come back?
Him coming back from injury in that sense is great for us because, like Tuchel said, he sees them as the three main players and then he sees Billy as the fourth guy. So now at least, even from the point of player fatigue where mentally Jorginho looks like he's shattered now, before the Arsenal game, in pretty much all of the games, he looked so different that you thought there's new contract talks starting and stuff. I'm kind of glad we didn't jump on that, if I'm being honest now. And yeah, so the annoying thing is, even now, you'd probably say our best pivot is Jorginho Kante, which is so odd because then when you have Kovacic, Kante playing together, they both kind of want to move around. Yeah. Whereas Jorginho does sit in one place, but like you said, then he lacks the sort of mobility where he's telling other players to get out and stuff like that. And I think over the last 2 games, you saw him play against really physical midfielders, where in the Arsenal game, he looked like he couldn't handle Thomas Partey in the few times where they were fighting for the ball. And then at the same time, when he was facing Ndidi, he didn't look up to scratch.
Yeah.
Normally he seems like he's one step ahead in the brain, but everything looks so slow again. Like when it comes to him, he'll move a bit, try and get players to move around, make a little 5-yard pass, but nothing would maneuver. It wouldn't change other players' positioning as much as he wanted. So he looks a bit problematic again, and I can't wait to see Kovacic back in the squad. And not even back in the squad, back starting. Like he had a fully fit squad, so I don't know why Kovacic didn't make the bench yesterday. I'm not too sure if there was something there, but because he didn't make the bench yesterday, it kind of makes me think, what's the chances of him just going straight into the first team on Tuesday?
Slim.
Seems quite low.
Slim.
Yeah, literally. So then the thing is, Miz, we're playing against Leicester again on Tuesday, and why can't Tielemans do that again?
Well, but he probably will.
We'll have Mendy.
Oh, but we got Mendy goals.
We'll have Mendy. Yeah, he'll save anything. But like in terms of how they're going to play, it's still going to be very similar if we have similar players out on the pitch in those positions, and it's very likely that we will have Jorginho and Kante, and then you get on to the next game.
Are you sure, bro? Are you sure it'll be Jorginho Kante? I think Billy will come in. Watch Tuesday. Billy plays.
You think?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. 100%.
Honestly,
yeah, but because if Jorginho and Kante play again, like then we're really contradicting. Then why didn't they play? Why haven't they playing in the previous games? Because there were much bigger gaps between the games.
I don't think Tuchel likes Billy Gilmore as much as people think, to be honest. I think he's used him right now because he really needed to. But I don't think he sees him as a long-term option or anything like that. So the other day, when the going gets tough, he was the first player he took off straight away. Yeah. And he'd rather have Mount playing as a number 6. I think it's at that level, if I'm being honest. So I can't really see playing.
Honestly, boys, I hope it's just Jorginho and Kante, like he doesn't tinker too much. Or I really hope that it's Kovacic, but I find it very difficult if he's going to be fit to start. But Thomas Tuchel, honestly, I would love it. I would love it if he just stopped rotating. Just stick to it. This last 3 games, I really want to see one team. I just want to see the one team for the next 3 games, and then he can substitute and whatnot, and bring players on. DJ Sav J17, great debate, guys. Gutted, we lost yesterday, but we still have a lot to play for. Top 4 aspirations and a Champions League. It's not all doom and gloom. Still a great position we're in. I really need to talk about this, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. Ameya, I'll go to you first.
Yeah,
honestly speaking, I'll say first, and then I'll go to you.
Sure.
I'm honestly thinking, I don't care about the top 4. I want these boys to win the Champions League. I want this team to win the Champions League. If you want to get Champions League football, win the Champions League. Win the Champions League and get us Champions League football. Because I'm not going to be celebrating top 4 like a little sissy and then get beaten in the Champions League and cry again the way we did yesterday. I want this team to now really, really ensure that when that Champions League comes, and I know Champions League games, a couple of games away, and we need to focus on these games, but I'll be devastated if we don't win the Champions League, man. Honestly, I'll be devastated. Because as KisHan said, this was probably the best opportunity to get some silverware, and we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, KisHan, if we've already not got the FA Cup, if we don't get Champions League, 2 things I want you to answer. 1, if we don't get top 4, how you feel, and if we do get top 4, does it really matter that we've lost 2 chances? Like, what's your feel?
So I think, is it for me or for KisHan?
Yeah, it's you.
To you, Ameya.
Right. Okay. So honestly, it's sort of like safety, right? I mean, like, especially when you're betting and all of that. I think, would you rather have top 4 in the bag before you go to the Champions League final or not? Because, like you mentioned earlier, we have all these big name signings, and they're definitely not going to come if we're playing for the Europa League, right? So I think that we have to be in the Champions League, and it's sort of like Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. They lost the Champions League final, and then they went on and won the Champions League next season, right? They lost the Premier League by 1 point, and then they went on to dominate the Premier League the next season. So we need to have that sort of mentality, honestly. And I mean, I would obviously love for us to get Champions League football if we do. It's sort of like the Arsenal-Chelsea Europa League final, right, where we won 4-1, and we had already qualified for the Champions League while Arsenal hadn't, and they had to win that game to get Champions League qualification, and they bottled it spectacularly. And honestly, do you believe that we have the mentality in our ranks to go out and give everything on the pitch and win the Champions League if we do crash out of top 4? Because I think if we don't make top 4, if we lose even one of our next 2 games, we're going into the Champions League final, like, our mentality is going to be down the drain, our spirits are going to be low, our confidence is going to be low, and I just think there's going to be too many negative vibes. So if we just were able to get top 4 before we face the Champions League final, then at least rest assured that we can have a good summer window and concentrate on challenging for silverware next season as well. Of course, it will be a missed opportunity this season, not winning any silverware, but we can at least, be one of the driving forces in the transfer window and, get this player, get that player next season and really be together as a team and compete. So I think that if we do get top 4 and lose the Champions League, would it be the end of the world? For about a week, yes, right? For one full week,
bro. End of the world for me. End of the world for me, bro.
1 week,
it's finished.
I'm going to be devastated. But we'll have the summer transfer window right around the corner, and we know that Champions League qualification ensures that we get so many big name players for next season. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to splash this window as well, like we did. So that's one way to look at it. I mean, if we finish out of top 4 and then lose the Champions League, I'm going back to cricket. It's as simple as that.
Miss,
I wouldn't be able to handle it. Genuinely, I won't be able to handle it.
Yeah, Miss, this is the thing though. Like you said, you want to win the Champions League and you don't care about top 4, but these are mutually exclusive things. Like winning the Champions League doesn't mean we have to miss out on the top 4 and miss out on the FA Cup. It's this team, like, realistically, before yesterday,
this is what I have you to in this channel to bring the logic. I'm just emotional now.
You have 4 games that you have to do your best in. That's all it really is. and those 4 games take you into a good place in 3 different competitions. Yesterday we flopped. If we win the next 2, at least we have that. So like Ameya was saying, and with the Champions League, we got into the final. So in terms of prize money, if you see the breakdown in prize money, we get quite a lot for getting into the final. So in terms of our window, that will be a great window again. But like we said, as fans, we're silver, we're hungry. That's all that matters to us. And I get what you mean. The fact that we lost the FA Cup final, it makes the Champions League that bit more special for us. And I think it's good that we're the underdogs for the final. I think we can play on that, because when we seem to be the favourites in these final, we don't have the mentality that we used to have, where it didn't matter if we had Everton in an FA Cup final or Portsmouth in an FA Cup final. We knew before we could win. It doesn't seem like we quite have that right now. So it's equally as important we finish in the top 4, because we can't trust this team in the final, basically.
Yeah.
No, well said, boys. Honestly, I'm just annoyed. That's the thing, man. I'm just annoyed that we didn't get the FA Cup. We played the same team, so I'm not really sure. I can't put my hand on my heart and say, we're going to beat Leicester. We're 100% going to beat Leicester. I'm not sure, man. That's the issue. And then if we don't, I think a draw is also a stuff up for us, right, guys? Like if we get a draw, then we're screwed.
I
think Liverpool has 3, and we got
it's
2.
Dependent. It's not in our hands then if we draw. But I think one other thing is, I know we've got Villa on the final day, and that's hard. Leicester do have Spurs on the final day, and the thing is, we can't trust. Spurs. No, for one thing, we can't trust Spurs, obviously. Yeah. But the fact is, Spurs, I still feel like with the players they got, you know how, and Kane just seems to love playing against Leicester. Another reason we need to buy him. But
another reason we need to against Leicester games, we can deploy Kane.
I mean, yesterday that would have been perfect.
Yeah. I love it, KisHan, bro. I love it. Anything to do some Kane props, man. Honestly. Boys, we had about 100 people. Guys, smash the like button if you've been enjoying this stream. We hit 100 plus people watching us live, which is great. This particular show is getting some numbers in recent times, so do really appreciate that. As we've said, we want to do this every Sunday from here on in, 11:30 a.m. UK. Chelsea news with Ameya, KisHan, and myself. We'll have a proper, artwork and all of that done very, very soon. But this is a locked-in show from here on in, because I think the chemistry is good, unlike the Chelsea chemistry in recent times. There's no rotation here. We are not rotating. We are
go back a week and we weren't saying any of these things.
Yeah, we weren't saying any of these things. But as I said, man, if you don't win, you are gonna get questions. I do want to end it this way. And I'll get both of your opinions on it. And me, I'll go to you first. If we lose again to Leicester, and I've said it even during Frank Lampard time, Ameya, Chelsea Football Club, and this is not me wanting it. I want Thomas Tuchel to stay. I want him to stay. I've seen enough in terms of the framework that he's creating. I've seen enough to give him next season so he can get the players that he wants, get rid of some of the players that he doesn't want. And I've seen enough for me to believe that he'll do great. But there's a caveat, Ameya. There's a big caveat. And the caveat is, which I had for Frank Lampard, Chelsea Football Club is too big of a club to go with 3 or 4 losses in a row. It's too big of a club to do that. You need to snap out of it. You had a poor performance against Arsenal, which has now jeopardized our top 4. You had a poor performance against Leicester. We didn't win the FA Cup. If you also now lose against Leicester again, the heat will be on, my man. The heat will be on. The thing is, Thomas Tuchel realizes that. He understands that. But as I said, our board is ruthless, Ameya. They're ruthless. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he'll get sacked. I think he will get the next season. But let this be a warning for next season. We saw Frank Lampard get sacked this season. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if we carry on like this next season. Do you know what I mean? 2 losses, lethargic performances, 3 losses, ain't going to be accepted one bit. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, the heat will definitely be on. And Tuchel knows that for sure, because I've said this so many times. He accepted an 18-month contract. I mean, how many managers in today's, accept a 1.5-year contract? That's basically saying, let's see how it goes. And that's what we're seeing. And now he has exceeded expectations all these months. And then we can't just discredit that, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, he's done an incredible job. So I hope that the board will keep that in mind. I know they're ruthless, but he's taken us from we were legit mid-table when he took us over, and now we're in the Champions League final. We could have won the FA Cup, and we're also favourites for. We were favourites for the top 4 until we spectacularly bottled it in our last game against Arsenal. So I think that heat will definitely be on. Will he get sacked? I don't think so. Definitely not. But a lot rides on the Champions League final. A lot rides on that final, and hopefully we can get. If we do win it, we'll get so much momentum heading into next season.
100%.
So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that one. But I think that's the crucial game. I think the Leicester game as well. I just can't see us losing that. I mean, if we do, there's going to be serious questions. I mean, a draw is all right, acceptable, but another loss, I think he's going to be under real pressure.
I don't think draw is acceptable.
Draw is not acceptable. We're done.
Because Liverpool
draw.
Liverpool will get us.
Yeah, they will. I mean, I'm not denying that, but I mean, going back from 2 losses in a row to another loss, that's going to put some huge questions. A draw is at least okay, right? I mean, it's not 3 losses in a row. That's what I'm coming from.
Yeah,
I get it's not a loss, but it is pretty much a loss. I don't look at it as it's pretty much like a Champions League game. Our second leg against Porto, you don't look at it as a 1-0 loss because you won the war. We can't draw because we'll lose the war eventually. With Liverpool are 1 point behind us, they'd probably go 2 ahead of us, and then Leicester. I'm pretty sure they've got Spurs on the final day, but if they win, it's not in our hands. Then that's us done.
Yeah.
So we can't. We have to win. It's not even a draw thing for us.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps us up with the Chelsea news for today. We've covered a lot of grounds, different.
One more thing, Miss. The women are playing today.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. I was just typing that in the private chat as you said it.
I'll let you guys talk about it, honestly, because you guys are massive ambassadors of it. KisHan, give us your thoughts on the women's match. I think they're playing Barcelona,
They are, Not that I know too much about Barcelona, but hopefully they can do a lot better than we did yesterday, and then we can mirror them in our Champions League campaign and bring it home too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ameya?
Yeah, Barcelona are a pretty decent side as well. I think they won the Spanish women's league. I think the Spanish La Liga, women's La Liga. So they're not a side that are easy pushovers. But at the same time, the major players are out, so that does give us a chance. And the women's team mentality is completely different, and I'm 100% sure that they're going to show so much more desire, so much more passion, and they're going to want it so much because this is the first time that we've got into the final. So I'm 100% sure that it's going to be a better showing than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, man. Didn't we win the league as well? Our women's?
Yep, we won the league.
So it's the 2 league champions, right? So they've won the La Liga. We've won the league as well. So that's fantastic. Gurman Singh, honestly, I hope so, mate. But
can't see it.
I can't see it. I can't see them bottling it from here. I really can't. The way they destroyed Man United.
And you have to give them props because you look at the 2 centre backs. They had Nat Phillips and they had Reece Williams, and they still managed to say, "Okay, we know we're going to concede goals, but we'll just go on the other side and score 4." Like 4.
I wish we just had that mentality, bro. I really do. I wish we just had that mentality like Liverpool where, you know what, you want to score? You want to score? That's fine. We're going to score 5. See if you can score 6. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's the most fun mentality to have in football.
Yeah, bro. Just go out there and score. But we don't have the prolific players like Salahs and Manes and even Jota, bro. Jota is
serious.
Wow, what a signing for Liverpool, man. But anyways, guys, that pretty much wraps us up. Please smash the like button. There's almost 100 people once again. Smash the like button. We'll go here. DJ Self saying, great show, guys. And big up to all. Peace. So yeah, smash the like button before you go. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. And my panelists, their socials are in the description. Go out there and follow them. Ameya has a YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe. We've got 100 people. Please, 100 of you guys, go and hit the link and subscribe. Help Ameya out. Until next time, guys, this group will be back again Sunday, 11:30 a.m. That'll be post Aston Villa game.
Is it?
It'll be post the Aston Villa game, would it?
No, pre Aston Villa.
Oh yeah, because the Aston Villa game's on Sunday
At the same time. Yeah,
At
all
the
of them
same
will be
time.
at the same time.
Wow. Oh, so we may need to do the news maybe. Should we do the news earlier, or how are we going to do it? Because it'll be all midday games, right? It'll be all midday games.
It's like the comments will tell us when to do it. We'll discuss that for sure.
Yeah,
We'll discuss that. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll discuss it because we're doing this every Sunday, 11:30. But I think it's all midday starts or 1 p.m. UK start. So
it's not. I just checked. I think it's 4 p.m. UK.
Oh, it's 4 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we can still.
For me. Yeah.
So maybe we
will
can
you have
still
the previews and stuff, Miss?
I'll have the previews. But maybe we can still do like a pre-match news stuff. Obviously. Well, we should do news anyway because we'll figure out whether we're going to be in top 4 or not.
Whether we've got a chance of being it. If we draw or lose, we might as well cancel the channel. Miss does.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Honestly, it's going to be fun. We're going to still keep it at 11:30, guys. 11:30 Sunday next week as well. We'll be here. Smash the like button. Until next time, everyone. Take care. See ya.